It's on.
Hello, folks, and thank you for coming this evening. It is November 2nd, and we are preparing here to do our private sale launch on November 4th in 2 days. We are getting ready, quite excited, and here to answer some questions to the folks. This is our second evening of doing our podcast AMAs. We're happy to have all of these folks that are here joining us this evening, as well as those that aren't here and will be listening to this recording later. We're going to go ahead and give a chance to anyone that's new or has gone through the white paper, might have some questions. Before we start off and give some announcements, let's see if there might be any questions to get us started this evening. All right, is there anybody? All right, I guess that we'll just go right ahead. So thank you all for being here. This is ARK. Always warm, always sunny over here. We have a pretty big announcement to make. Our minor project that was our first phase one, we started on Kronos, and our prime directive really has always been to be on Kronos, as we, like crypto.com, where we launched. Crow was at 53 cents. We did quite fantastic. We reached around 1.2 million Crow in the TVL and going quite fast. Folks were very excited to be here. I was very impressed with the staff, the admins, moderators, and really the investors that came on board to first understand how that system worked, get educated, the ins and outs, how to really manage responsibly with a great strategy your investment into that miner. And with that, we saw some folks really flourish. Some stars were definitely rising, like Brad, who really went out there and brought a lot of folks over in the UK. Some of them have never even been into crypto. Sat with them and explained to them how it worked. What are the risks, which is a very important thing to really understand. Whenever you get into these type of projects, there's a real responsibility to understand it's not a guaranteed. There are no promises. There is inherent risk when you invest, especially in DeFi, and that you have to have patience. When you invest into these projects, you can't pull out your funds, just by wishing it or going into a panic. You are pretty much sacrificing your investment into the platform, to the TVL, understanding how you're going to get the return on your investment. It is a long-term play, and you have to really get into the strategy of how to manage that. So some folks came in, they got educated. We saw them actually become, really pillars of the community, helping other new investors that would come in and really, getting them up to speed so they could also manage and handle their investment in the best way possible. And through that, we created a really professional, respectful, fun place to be with a lot of empathetic individuals, understanding that the only way to really succeed is to have constant growth. And when new investors would come in, no one ever trying to poach or try to show their referral and come to my team. That's not the atmosphere that we like. That's not how we operate. We are more of a sort of helpful, empathetic customer service. Hey, who brought you in? How can we help you? So that if you have dinner or go to a barbecue and you meet a friend or an old classmate or a neighbor, your dentist, and you want to bring them over, that your investor is not going to be taken away from you, or nobody's going to try to fight and poach them from you. So that's really important. That's something that we're going to continue here as part of our tradition, as part of our policy, and the way that we invest and the way that we grow together. And with that, we've come to the point that we're ready to launch our project. A lot of work has been done. Great advisors, some of them are in here this evening, have really helped to shape really how the whole project's really put together. And we've always had in mind to launch on crypto.com and their chain Kronos. However, we've had an overwhelming response from a lot of investors, especially some that haven't invested with us before, have heard about our group, our team, our community, and they want to get involved. They like what we've put together here, what we have, and they've really asked us to think carefully, to think long term about what the upsides of coming to BSC would be, and what the disadvantages of probably staying in crypto.com, Chronos could be. So we've thought long and hard, and we've made a decision looking at all the pros and the cons going forward. There's a couple of them that personally to me stand out. One of them is having the ability of multi-sig from Genosis. I've launched projects with them before, and I can tell you that I can go to sleep at night and not have to worry that there's a single point of vulnerability, that if my systems are hacked, that, investors' funds could be, at stake. They could be lost. When you are working with a multi-sig, you're working with Genosis, we know that that's extremely, extremely safe security. It's not just one single point of failure. You need several signatures. So that's always been a worry for me. When we were operating the miner, my op security was always at the highest level. But I will tell you guys, I've always been worried. I've always been a little bit scared, a little paranoid, because one thing is that you can lose your funds personally, right, as an investor. But when you're responsible for the funds of others, it is a completely different situation. And no matter, what the truth might be, how you might have been hacked, there's always going to be folks there that are relying on that investment, that no matter what you say to excuse yourself or explain yourself, it's not going to matter. It is a loss. And that's not a position that I think anybody would like to be in. I personally don't like to be in it. So that is a huge relief, again, for me personally, to have multi-sig. We've also seen in the history of BSC that they have stepped up when they were hacked a couple of years ago. They stopped trading, they stopped all outgoing transfers, and they did an investigation for a few days before they refunded the accounts that were hacked and the funds that were taken out of Binance. And that, I think, is really the turning point where there was a pivot and folks started to look at them and take them serious for doing the right thing and stepping up and putting those funds back, opening up trading again, letting people transfer, and life went on. So we know that they're not going to just disappear. CZ is not going to come and rug. I don't think there's a rock on this planet that man could hide under, even if he got a sex change. So that's also, to me, quite reassuring. And, I didn't like when crypto.com, just all of a sudden this year, they came out and said they were taking the staking rewards of their card holders with, no warning. They just came out and did it. And if you guys that were here with us investing into the miner with, Crow, understood that we went from 53 cents down to around 9 cents. And it was the first shoe that dropped. I think 7 to 10 days later, pretty much the rest of the cryptocurrency market, as well as traditional markets, took a huge, huge dump. So that kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth, at least for me, when you see that companies are taking these decisions, for whatever interest they might have. But it definitely, hurt the community. And there's always that fear that something like that could happen again, as well as other things. But those are the main points for me personally that I've thought about and had to really take the time to think and what's best, not just for us, but for the whole community of investors. So with that, when folks are going to come into the private sale or the pre-sale, not only are you going to be able to come in with BUSD, which will be the pairing of ARK token, but you will also be able to buy in with any token that's on the Binance Smart Chain. There's a list here that I can go ahead and post. That'll be on a drop-down menu, because every single one of them would take quite a huge list. So we'll go ahead and put that there. But you're not going to have to just have BUSD. Maybe you have a token from another project, or you've got some Litecoin. Anything that's on Binance Smart Chain, BEP20, you'll be able to come ahead and contribute with us, which I think is pretty good and exciting. Mr. Brett Norton, do you want to go ahead and add to that, and maybe give a bit of your perspective on this announcement and the move to the Binance Smart Chain?
Sure. Yeah, I think all the points that you mentioned they're very valid. To me, it was, do we make a bigger splash on Crow, because there aren't very many daily ROI dApps there. So from a marketing perspective, it could have been a little bit more exciting over on Crow. But BSC at the end of the day is king of DeFi right now. As far as these dApps go, and an educated investor base goes, I don't think you can beat Binance. So, I'm heavily invested in other Binance smart chain products. So it's an easy transition, or, wasn't a tough kind of decision to make to, go to BSC. So to me, that's kind of what it came down to. Obviously, the security concerns and the longevity of Crow versus Binance was part of that. Sorry, my 3-year-old's in the background. So yeah, there was some of those elements, the tech, security, the longevity of the chain, and then just the investor base, which was outreaching and giving us their opinions as well. And there's USDC versus BUSD and BNB versus Crow, and all these little kind of side conversations that we had. So I think it's the right choice at this time, especially since we're in a bit of a bear market, to make things as frictionless as possible for people to come over. There's a lot more liquidity on BSC. So yeah, overall, I think it's a great decision. I think that we'll have a much bigger opportunity on the front end as well to bring in capital. And so I think that's exciting. And I think we're seeing the investor sentiment aligning with that. And there's a real positive turnout we've had over the last couple of days. So yeah, exciting stuff.
Thank you. Thank you, Brett. Yeah, it was a hard decision for us to really make. And we were on the fence for a couple of days, as some of our advisors were pretty adamant about it. And there were some others that really saw an upside. There were a couple of investors that were interested to come in from other projects. And there was a comment, I'm not going to say who, but somebody, forwarded me a message for someone that had like 100,000 Crow and they wanted to put it in. But see, we've decided not to really pair with Crow, even being, at that range, 10, 12 cents and so forth, which, by the way, didn't recover as much as, BNB and Polygon and a lot of the other major cryptocurrencies. If we were to launch and, have another drop of, 50%, which no one can really say what's going to happen. I can't tell you, Brett can't tell you. I mean, I don't think any of you guys can really tell us what's going to happen. But we did learn from the experience with the miner going from 53 cents down to 9 cents, how detrimental that just took all of the wind out of our sail. It put our investors in a position that they were not comfortable to go and, show the referral link or bring anybody in, because they were seeing how their investment had really just slowed down so much, how much longer it would take for them to get that return on investment. So, we make sure to really tell all our investors from the beginning to pay themselves. Part of passive income is to put, some money back in your pocket, put some food on the table, especially, ladies and gentlemen, get your initials back. Do it responsibly, follow the system. There were a lot of investors that just got those stars in their eyes and they just hyper compounded, and, they were working their way to become a whale. And we respect and understand that everyone has really the opportunity and the right to make a decision on how to manage best their investment. However, we've been around for a while. We understand that there is absolutely nothing wrong with getting that return on investment and letting really the rest ride and grow, and maybe add a bit to it later, grow your referrals if that's what you want to do. Not everyone is a person that's going to focus on getting referrals, and that's okay. You don't have to. You're not forced to. You can invest into these projects and do it, as an individual. And that's an important part that I think is one of the things that I really like about the way that these systems are created and they're set up. So, taking that volatility away, pairing with a stable coin, we find that we are able to really take away that volatility, sit back and relax a bit, and let the investment, roll in a more sustainable fashion. That's what we're also looking at, creating our own LMS. We have some very bright minds on the team, advisors, and our coders are just out of this world. Okay, they're I call them the geniuses because they're extremely, extremely creative and bright. And I believe that, we have still some good time before our December 2nd launch. We're going to be testing, we're going to be tweaking, we're getting some quants in also that are going to be able to to help us to find a balance that we believe is going to just give the whole project a sustainable long-term stability, which is really what we aim for, right? Because we understand this is going to take some time. So we don't want any exposure. So for those folks that were kind of interested in Crow, I think their main interest was really having some exposure to a fantastic opportunity. I mean, let's not deny it, guys. 10, 9 cent, 11 Crow when the all-time high was around 96, 98 cents is great upside. But, the downside can be detrimental, especially when you are in a project that you need momentum and that you need everybody to be really calm, cool, and collected, right? We don't have to be, running into any type of panic. That's just going to make, folks, take a step back, go into fear mode, get a little bit down and just want to, not be as active, proactive, or be growing into the investment. So eliminating that, incorporating the LMS, which by the way, we also want to be able to offer that as a product to other projects that are going to be coming obviously behind us and are looking for this type of technology that's going to also give them that price stability on a long-term basis. So that's going to create revenue for the whole ecosystem. It's going to come to help us have the liquidity, which our aim really, our holy grail is to be able to pay back everyone here 10 times, what their investment is. And we're not going to do that just sitting and waiting for new investors to come in or recruiting new investors. We also have to have different utilities, avenues of investment returns that are going to come to the table. So we've got, more exciting news that we're going to be giving to you guys as we move forward on those investments. But the LMS is one of those components. We also have a cross-chain platform that we're going to be launching. I believe that in the future, when you're launching projects and you really want to expand, you're going to want to be in as many chains as possible to get into those, pools of investors that just kind of feel comfortable in their, home base chain. So as we develop that, we also feel that's going to be a service that we're going to be able to offer other projects as a pretty much plug and play. So you got an LMS, you've got a cross-chain platform that you can launch your contracts with us. As well, we're looking at investing into some other protocols of, really, really established development teams that have shown through time that in this space, they are reliable, great people that have a vision and are constantly on that sustainable long-term path. So that's something that's going to be a great update for everyone, as well as investments into the real world. There are opportunities that we feel that in order to really kind of balance things out with DeFi, going for some low risk, even a lot more lower yield, we're going to be able to get some more sustainability, which is important here. Brett, do you want to add maybe a little bit to that as well?
I'm sorry, I was just answering some questions over in the lounge. What was the the topic? Sorry.
I was explaining about how our LMS and our cross-chain products are going to be products that we're going to be able to offer as utilities to other up-and-coming projects in the future, so that they'll be able to plug and play and launch with an LMS and a cross-chain platform. Also, our mobile app, which is one of the things that we've been excited about for a long time. Ideally, what we envisioned and what we've been able to recruit into the team is the folks are going to be able to build a mobile application. Say you're sitting down at dinner with a couple of friends, and you're talking about your investment, and they're like, "Wow, it's really neat. How do I get into that? I've never bought crypto." And they'll be able to download the mobile app, and you could show them your QR code. They will scan it, and automatically they would already be under you in the whole system, right? In the rewards pool, so that they'll be able to pull out their credit card. They'll be able to purchase, crypto, and come right in and purchase ARK and make their investment. So that, I believe, it's going to really just open up a whole new world of average Joes, landscapers, truckers, nurses, waiters, people that are not really in our special DeFi world, but are all looking for an opportunity to not go crazy. We always tell people, invest a small amount, learn how the system works, and get your toe in the water, understand, and get educated. And then as you get more comfortable, you can start to grow, and obviously never invest any capital that you can't afford to lose. So we feel that that's going to really transcend. It's going to give the tools for our community to be able to go out there for those that really want to be active, or maybe just see an opportunity. They're not very active recruiting, but they just spoke to somebody like, hey, this is actually pretty easy. I've got this application. They don't have to get on the computer, download MetaMask. They can do it from a trust wallet. And we also feel that's a product that we're going to be able to offer other projects, whether they're already launched or they're going to be launching in the future, where they're going to be also able to go out there and win some hearts and minds, to get new investors that are looking for a very simple, easy way to join and get these fantastic returns on the long-term basis. So that's where we believe that we're going to be able to make some changes, and again, not just sit and wait for customers to come in, but also offer the technology that we're building here with this fantastic team to up and coming projects. That's did you want to add to that, Brett?
No, sure. Yeah, I guess the overall focus of the team has always been to make it as frictionless as possible for new investors to come in, and a big focus, even with the miner product, was to bring in new capital outside of where traditional markets are, your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, your family members. And we know there's a great barrier to getting into crypto, and then the next step is even harder to get into DeFi. So all of the things that we have on our roadmap and the things that you've mentioned, Atlas, all contribute to that. And growing the team and growing our community is going to be the focus, especially from a marketing standpoint. We understand that direct marketing is the best way to grow an ecosystem like this. And the constant flow of fresh capital coming in allows everything to work together, not just for investors, but also for the team, and growing our development team and growing the products and having a real business atmosphere. Without that capital coming in, you can't churn out those products. You can't keep the excitement in the marketplace. And that slowly affects, the community, the investor base. So all of those things contribute to that, and the long-term growth and sustainability of the protocol are dependent on it. So yeah, we're gonna be releasing more information as we go about our plans for the marketing, about our plans for the roadmap, the products, and creating more detail around that. So stay tuned.
Thank you, Brett. And the response to the past couple of days have been quite overwhelming. A lot of folks that are in other projects are looking through our white paper and seeing how this is a bit different, and seeing the time that was put into this. We've been able to take a really good advantage of watching other projects and really taking notes, understanding what's been very successful, what mishaps might have happened, and just been inspired by a lot of these teams. And you got to be able to analyze, right, and pick up the good things and try to fix or try to do things in a way that ideally you won't have to backtrack. That's something that's, I think, very hard, especially when you're an investor, that you get into something and then the rules of the game change after you started. And that's something that just happens. This is DeFi. There's situations with contracts. We've seen some pools take flash loans, and we've seen some horrible stuff happen. That gives, I think, a lot of us that have come after those things, the opportunity to sit and really make sure that those vulnerabilities are not existent. There's always an opportunity. There's no such thing, I think, as a perfect, 1,000,000% guaranteed secure contract. There's, people that really don't put the time to get their code and everything in order. That's one of the great things that I think we have here. Everything's been written from scratch. There's not a single line of code that has been copied and pasted from another protocol. We take great pride in that. With that, look, obviously comes an inherent risk, but we can't wait till we can show you the contracts and review them. They're going to be in a format that I think most people, even if they're not Solidity experts or coders, are going to be able to really go through and understand, which I think is pushing the bar higher as to making code that folks can really understand and stand behind. And we're going to be getting our audits in order as well. We're very excited about that. That's coming up. But overall, we're very appreciative and thankful to those that have gone before us, and we want to have great relationships. We want to do cross partnerships, and we want to invest into. There's 2 protocols already that we're really excited about. We don't want to mention it yet, but I think when we come out and tell you guys, what it's about, I think you'll be quite happy because, we as investors, it's about diversifying. I find, you don't know what could happen to any project, tomorrow, even to us. It's just a part of life. Anything can happen. Murphy can show up, and we want to make sure that we have a great environment, respect. We'll never talk bad about anybody else, and we want to have a very respectful, amicable relationship, especially as we're sharing investors. And it's not about we're better than them or they're better than us. It's about we're all investors, and we're all trying to accomplish personal goals in our finances through these protocols. And if we are respectful and we're calm, cool, collected, and we always show up here in the best manner, we're going to find that like we did with our phase 1, it was quite a fantastic atmosphere. We didn't allow any self-promotion or sharing of links or poaching of other investors or new investors that would show up. And I think that went a long way so that people felt really comfortable as they came in here, or they brought their friends or family. So it was a really great environment. And, we look forward to all these fantastic people that are coming over, and we want this to be their home. We want this to be a place where they can really feel comfortable to invest. And it's a long journey. So as everybody gets on board the ARK, especially in these times of, global uncertainty, a lot of doubt, not to, be gloomy, but, we are, I think, looking for that stability. And we've taken, I believe, every precaution, every time, has been always with the initiative of finding that sustainability. So let's see if there's anybody that might have a question or maybe even just a comment about our switch over from Chronos to the BSC. Maybe anything about the private sale or how these NFTs are going to function. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey, what's up, Atlas? CFF.
Doing well. Right ahead.
Yeah, I only have a second. I actually just picked up dinner. I've been listening in the whole time, but super excited with the decision to go BSC. I know we had quite a few people that were underneath of our various other teams for our other DApps, and they were, that was like kind of their one concern was on Crow. So they're definitely super excited to be on BSC. And I think that, we'll have a large impact across the success. So super excited about that switch over, and yeah, super excited about the project. Keep it up. And yeah, can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Thank you, Resin. Yeah, you and CFF, we had a private conversation about that, and you guys made some fantastic points regarding the difference and why, at least for you and a lot of your investors and community members, were really more comfortable and more interested in really being on the BSC. So, you guys are new to us. SK put us together. Mr. SK, thank you. Great set of guys that you hooked us up with. And, very informative. We were blown away how you guys really took the time and went through the white paper many times and came back with some fantastic questions. So it's great to see that folks are really being, educated and taking the time to get all of the information, ask the questions so that they're, able to make the best decision before they make a financial decision, right? This is, serious business, and it's important that we all understand it. So, we're here to help you guys answer any questions, as well as anyone in your community that might have a question that you're not able to answer. Always feel free to send them over, and our staff's here 24/7, and we're going to be here pretty much every evening, face to face, person to person, and happy to share with you guys and answer any questions, which is the way we operated in our phase 1. It's important, when you're running a business like this, as there's so much information, so many questions that folks have to understand, whether it's their first time, downloading MetaMask, where it's the first time of really getting into these systems and understanding the risk, the inherent possibilities of an upside, return on investment timeline. Miss Kelly Snook has worked on a calculator that we're going to be incorporating and letting you guys find your best strategy. And she also wrote a fantastic best practices article that I would suggest all of you to take a look at. I think it's extremely helpful and vital. So yeah, we're here for all of you guys, and I think that through that process that has happened in phase one, a lot of friendships and relationships were established, and folks were really able to just kind of stay very close to the team. It makes a difference when the team is available on a daily basis, not just through the direct messages or here in the chat, but also that you can hear them and you can ask any questions. And updates are on a daily basis. It really does set a tone. I've done this before in other projects, and you could really see the growth and the difference where sometimes devs are really not that engaged. They're not that involved. You'll hear them on AMAs sometimes when they're about to launch, but they're not constantly there. It really makes a difference. I don't know if maybe any of you guys that have been with us here can kind of tell the rest of the community how the whole thing played. I don't know if you want to talk about it, Brad or Fortunate, what the mode of operation over here is. Brad, do you want to go?
Sorry, mate. I was just reading one of the other lounges. What was that? Sorry, just repeat that, please, bro.
Yeah, I was telling the folks that are new here how we have a different policy of how we operate and our way of communicating and being always here. We did 67 straight podcasts, and I think it's 69 days. We don't take days off, Mother's Days, weekends, and we always have that direct communication of the team with the community, as there's so much education. And you maybe want to talk a little bit about how you came into the project and what you saw as a first-time investor here, with us.
Yeah, of course. So I was completely new to crypto when I joined up. Had been involved in one crypto project before and literally knew nothing about crypto. Didn't know how to do a MetaMask. Didn't know anything about anything. And one of the people who was a syndicate founder brought me over, and I joined the Telegram. And that man, Fortunate, the community manager, was there on hand. Something about myself: when I don't understand something, I will ask a lot of questions because that's how you learn. And I had never met Fortunate, never met any of the team. And the very first time I came into the chat, I spent best part of about 2 hours with Fortunate. I literally knew nothing about anything, and he taught me a lot. He taught me the ins and outs of how everything works, how to set up my my MetaMask. Held my hand, walked me through it all. Was actually helping multiple people at one time because he is that good. And then he educated me to a degree where I could then educate other people. And I went out and I got 30 referrals in the first week. I think it was 29 referrals in the first it was 2 weeks, because it took me that long to sign everybody up, because the people that I was signing up were the same as me. They had never been involved in crypto, didn't know how to do MetaMask, didn't know how to transfer from crypto.com, didn't know anything. But he educated me to a degree where I could go around to people's houses and sign them up, walk them, hold their hand through the process. Any additional help I needed, Atlas was there, Fortunate was there, Gordy was there. There was, plenty of people just on hand 24 hours a day, because I'm over in the UK. Atlas is in Europe, Fortunate's in the US, so we're all in different time zones, and there is always someone available. The community feel, the vibe was fantastic. It's something that I hadn't experienced before. Crypto can be a very competitive place, and there was no fighting for referrals. If somebody came into the chat and, on the very rare occasion that Fortunate wasn't on hand in the first 10 seconds and somebody else helped that person was the person that got the referral. There's no sniping, there's no DMing, there's none of that stuff. It is, real cool vibe, family vibe, very helpful. Everyone's understandable. Some people know a lot about crypto, some people know nothing about crypto, and it doesn't matter what level you were at when you joined. The first and foremost, it's all about education, and letting people know that it's not guaranteed. There's no promises. We never use the word trust or guarantee here. It's it's a really, really cool, friendly place, full of education and smart people. And it's at the point now where I'm a founding member myself, and I'm a team member, because that is how well these guys educated me, to the point where I could go and replicate that and onboard people and show my worth to them through, through my actions, but because they educated me so well. And, that is sort of what it's all about here.
Thank you for that, Brad. And yeah, it was a pleasure. You become a part of this family, man. Fantastic human being and person that helps animals and helps people that are looking for really help and understanding. So we saw your star rise really, really fast here, and it's sort of a chain where someone comes and helps someone, and then that person, once they understand the investment, they're able to really manage and oversee their investment correctly, is able to come and help. And when our community really steps up and is that foundation of knowledge, of professionalism, then it really extends and just helps us as a whole really come and grow. So we always say that there's a couple folks that show up, but they go from a savage Joe from an average Joe, I said it backwards, to a savage Joe. And we definitely saw that with Brad. And then, his name first was Brad, and then, he updated it to Brad Ask, because, he just became so active here. And I know you guys have seen that in other communities and other projects when they're doing things correctly. You can really see that, there are folks that just really start to shine, that really become involved, and, they're pumping their bags, or they're doing what's right for their investment in the community. And that's something that really makes a difference. Without fantastic communities and leaders and admins and moderators and investors, there really isn't, I believe, any possibility or room for growth. If it's not safe, if it's not professional, if it's not respectful, and if it's not fun, then why would people want to be together? So we all have the same common denominator of wanting to grow and earn in these projects. So why not do it in a format and an environment that's just fantastic and fun to be in? So with that, let's see if we can open it up to maybe anybody else that might have a question or a comment. I know people are kind of quiet tonight, which is good, but I'd be hard pressed to believe that every single person understands every intricate detail of the system. I'd love to believe that. If you're not able to speak and you would like to just write a question here in the chat, we do welcome you. I do see that there's a couple of other groups that are involved in our community that are asking some questions. I saw Brett is answering some questions over there as well. Thank you for doing that, guys.
I was gonna say that obviously Brett's over there handling that, but the fact that people are asking those questions, and sometimes people are shy, but then obviously not everybody is in here and they'll be listening to the AMA. Brett, do you want to just put into words what you've been writing in there so that other people can learn. I can see a lot of the questions are about what the best practice to maintain the 2%, what you need to stay at that rate.
You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take down these questions. I'm going to be building an FAQ document that we're going to
Nice.
add to the white paper. So I'll kind of take a majority of these down and then include them in that FAQ along with some other things that we got from the last AMA. So I'd kind of probably rather do it that way. That way I can scale things a little bit. So if that's
Great
okay.
idea, Brett.
Wicked.
That's going to really help us.
Repeat yourself over and over. That's a good idea, bro. Sorry, Atlas, go on, mate.
No, that's a fantastic idea by Brett. And, kind of those NFAs are really helpful because we're going to figure out, like we've done in phase 1, that there's going to be a common denominator of pretty much the same questions from investors that are experienced, that are coming in from other DApps, and seeing what's different and understanding the variables. There's certain key things: return on investment, how long, what do I have to do, and how do I stay in a positive CWR rating as we get closer. Look, we've got time. We're going to launch on December 2nd. We want to make sure that we really give every investor out there an opportunity to hear about us and to read our white paper and to come here and ask our questions and